This video is about how credit card processing can make you $3,000 per month in passive income, step by step. Hey guys, Michael here. If you don't know who I am, I've built a 7-figure passive income business in payment processing, starting from scratch and mastering what works along the way. With 15 years of experience, I'm here to help you create your own path to financial freedom, faster and smarter. What is credit card processing? You probably are thinking in your head, but credit card processing is literally whenever you go to a store and you've seen those machines at a business, or even you go online and purchase something, or somebody sends you an invoice, or even tapping your phone, or a machine reads your chip. That is the process of credit cards. It's the way those credit cards is being processed. And during that time, what happens is the process happens so fast where it sends the information from that card holder. It sends it out into the card brands, the sponsoring banks, comes back to check for authorization and approval. And it comes back, either it declines the transaction or it approves the transaction. And the way you make money on it is, the way you generate passive income on it is, whenever that card is swiped, there is a charge to the business. So the business has to pay a fee, because obviously, all of these cards come with rewards, points, all of the things that we love as consumers, which is why one of the reasons we use them. So that way we can earn points, we can earn, I just went all the way to Europe, practically for free, because I use my card to pay for everything. But the people that pay for this are businesses, because it's a convenient way for them to accept payments. And then it's because they want to be able to provide an option for the consumers. They don't want to lose business. So yes, we accept payments. So they pay with a credit card. And for a consumer, a credit card is like a magic wand. You just take out the card and you can just charge it, and it's, and you go home. You don't have to, it really doesn't have to come from your bank account, obviously, unless you use a debit card. I think I'm getting a little bit into the nitty gritty, which we can go into more. But bottom line is, look at it as as a pie. So let's say the business gets charged 3%, hypothetically. Let's say the transaction is $100. 3% out of that is $3. So what we do is we get a percentage out of that pie, out of that $3, every time someone swipes that card. The majority goes to the card brands and the sponsoring banks, but we, like people that set up that business to process payments, we get a little bit piece of that, but it adds up, because can you imagine how many people walk into a store and swipe or chip or go online to use their cards? And if you set up that business yourself, you're making that every little bit of that pie as residuals, because as residual income, because every time that person swipes, you're making, or uses their card to pay for something, you're making money. And it's a little, but it adds up over time, not just over time, but as customers use their card inside that business. So the busier they are, the better. The more volume they have, the better for you, because we make a little bit of a percentage out of that total cost. Okay, how do you make money from credit card processing? Well, I'm sure you've walked into a store, restaurant, online. All businesses accept payments. All businesses take credit cards, right? Well, at least the smart ones do. When a business accepts a card, there's a charge to that business. So that business gets charged, a percentage of that sale, so they don't get the full dollar amount. So one big program that we always try to push, and I'll explain to you exactly how that works, but I'll first explain it to you in a traditional way, and then I'll explain it to you in the cash discount way, which is the program I'm talking about. Cash discount / dual pricing. So the traditional program, which is what majority of businesses are on, is where the business has to pay for the fees. So let's say a business does $100,000 a month, and that business is going to pay, let's say, 3%. Hypothetically speaking, that equates to $3,000. So the business, as part of their expenses, is now paying $3,000 to be able to have the convenience of accepting payments and accepting credit cards. So they pay for that, because obviously a lot of cards and everything, they have networks, and they have, sponsoring banks and issuing banks and card brands and all of that stuff. So, whether that card comes with rewards or it comes with points, someone has to pay for it. It's not free, right? So in this case, the business pays for it. Now, I'm going to take you a step back into the cash discount program now that I explained to you the traditional program that exists today. Now, the cash discount program is, imagine now the business, the same scenario. We have $100,000 that business processes, okay? And they pay $3,000 a month, in fees. Instead of the business paying for the fees, we can revert it and have the consumer, the customer who is buying the products inside that business, they can offset those fees and have the consumer pay for them, okay? The reason this is an awesome program is because when you really think about this, instead of the business owner paying $3,000 for processing $100,000, let's say you have whatever in a month, you have 1,000 customers that walk into your store. Now, instead of 3,000 all coming from one person, which is the business, now you have those 1,000 customers, each one paying $3. It's a lot less weight for the business. And the customer, I'm not saying they will never complain. Of course, there are complainers out there, but it's the way of life. Walk into a gas station. You'll always see a cash price and you'll always see a credit card price. And it's been happening for a long time. It's just you have to train the consumer that this exists. Why have them been able to charge? Because they want to pass those fees on to the customer. Now, have you ever paid a parking ticket? Have you ever paid a court ticket? Guess what? The municipality is going to charge you a fee, a convenience fee for paying by card. And you're okay with that because you got to make that payment. Now, a lot of businesses may or may not like this, but it's the norm. It's the new norm. And only 5 to 10% of all these businesses in the United States are in this program, which means there is a ton of opportunity. It's just educating someone and understanding the difference between, okay, why are you doing this versus this traditional program versus the cash discount program? And the number one thing that people tell me all the time is, I'm scared to lose a customer. I don't want my customer to go somewhere else. But weirdly, whenever we switch a customer into that program, that business does better. It's weird. I can't sit here and tell you why or how that happens, but the payment processing gods are helping us. I don't know how, but it happens. But the fear of that person having that mentality, the easiest way to switch it is literally tell them, hey, first of all, it used to be new. It's no longer new. A lot of businesses are doing it more and more every single day. And why should you've been paying for this? The gas stations are banking on it. Why aren't you? The gas stations have been doing it for years. The municipalities have been doing it for years. You can do it too. And if your customer doesn't come to you because you're charging them a convenience fee for paying with credit cards, then there are bigger problems within your business that you need to be realizing. Because if you're providing the service, if you're providing the support, if you're providing the relationship and the product that's amazing, that's wowing these people that are continuously coming back to your store, then you shouldn't be worried about that. That's the last thing. Your customers, if anything, should be understanding. And there will be signs on that premise inside that business that will say, hey, we charge for this. This is something that we need to charge to cover our payment processing fees. It's just the right thing to do. So again, that's how going back to how you make money on this, as far as the cash discounting, you make a percentage out of that $3,000. So in the traditional way, let's say a business processes the $100,000 example in a traditional fashion, we make total in revenue before any splits or ref shares, we make about, I would say, $300 to $400 per month from that business. Okay. But if you're putting them on this cash discount program, we're making approximately anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month. That's a huge difference. Huge difference. So the amount you can make in credit card processing going by the cash discount program obviously can vary based on, the business, but you can, as I said before, if a business processes $100,000 a month, you're expected to make yourself around, after the splits, you'll make anywhere from $500 to $1,500 a month from that business. So that is one business. So if you ask the question, how long would it take me to reach $3,000? Well, you do the math. It's going to take you about 6. Let's go on the low end. It's going to take you about 6 clients that are processing $100,000 a month for you to make $3,000. Do you think you can do that? Do you think you can get 6 clients that are out there by going to them and say, hey, Mr. Merchant, after explaining it to them, and it's not about being pushy, build that relationship. Again, go after the customers, the businesses that you already have a network with, and educate them. You know, the important thing here is education. You need to teach them. You need to give. And the reason I say that is because if you're just trying to go for the sale and just say, hey, I can, save you 100% of your processing, you're just going to sound like everybody else. And you don't want to do that. You want to educate them, why it's important, why the history of it, how it works. Give them all the tools they need for them to come back and say, I want this. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. So give them the information, teach them, show them how it works, give them examples. You want to give them enough information so they can make the decision. Because as soon as you're pushy and you're making it where you're kind of like, sounding like a salesperson, they can smell it, they can feel it, and they eventually will back out. I have this analogy of a deer. Imagine you want to feed a deer, and that's your goal, right? You want to pet it, actually, not feed it, pet a deer. You wouldn't be going and running full throttle towards the deer, because guess what? That deer is going to run away. So what you do is you put food. I mean, just like hunters do. They put food, they have a blind. But in this case, the hunters, I'm not trying to shoot it. I'm trying to pet it. So how do I do it? I give it food. It takes time. It might take a week, might take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. 6 months. Eventually, you'll reach the goal of that deer. I dare you actually try it at home. If you have deer in your area, try it. Feed them, show them. I mean, your municipality might not like it and they might call on you, but if you try this with deer, you can do it with a business owner, because humans you can communicate with. But the reason this analogy works so well, because you're giving the deer, you're giving it food, you're giving. Then it's gonna come to you. It will come to you where you can then reach out your hand and pet it, okay? Which was your goal to begin with. But that wasn't what you were doing. You were giving it this whole time, and that deer comes to you. So it's the same thing in business and same thing in the relationship building. You have to give. You have to be that teacher, okay? You got to give, because then they will come for you and to you and ask. So there are simple ways, right? And if you want to really do this and get going, you can do it in 3 simple steps. Step number 1, which we've been talking about, get what you want to do. You want to be a teacher? Okay, great. That's an idea. You want to do drop shipping? You want to do real estate? Great. Those are ideas, but ideas mean nothing unless you put action into them, right? And when you are, we're talking about payment processing here. So idea 1, check. That's done. So now we know we're getting into credit card processing. Now I'm putting myself in your shoes and I'm like, okay, I'm you. I have chosen to do payment processing. What is my next step? Well, I need to focus on what the first step that I need to take, which is action. I need to put that idea into action. And that action could be research about it so you can understand it, joining a community, reading a book about it, listening to a podcast, whatever it is. You need to educate yourself a little bit, but don't overplan it. Because if you overplan it, you're going to realize that you're not going to take your first step. So take action by learning, and taking action by actually like signing up with whether it's a company that does the payment processing and all of that stuff, community that will help you hold your hand in the whole process and get you from start to finish and care about your success. When I started off, nobody helped me. Not a single person. I had to figure it all out on my own. And do you think I wish somebody was there to help me? You freaking bet. You bet I wish there was somebody there that held my hand and took me through the process and told me, hey, I made mistakes in the last 15 years. I want to make sure you're not doing them. You're not making those mistakes. So I can help you so you can be successful. And it's more important now than ever. You can make more money now than I was able to make 15 years ago. So the opportunity is here. Again, that action, take action, okay? Take action, regardless what you want to do. And the third and final step is monetize on your network. Everybody has a network, whatever type of network, whatever stages you are in your life, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, you've built those relationships, whether they are family, whether they are your friends, they're people that you see at the gym, people that you go to, soccer with or basketball or whatever, you drop off your kids, you have built relationships with people, okay? And you go through your phone, whether your phone book or maybe you don't have them on your phone, you're thinking, okay, who do I know that owns a business? Who do I know that can help me push this business? Because what you need to do immediately is utilize those networks, because you don't want to go into a business not knowing anything about it and try to sell or try to build a relationship. You could build a relationship. You can start that today, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. But you want to have confidence. Maybe you have that network build, get those customers signed up. Now you've learned a lot. Now you're no longer on the sidelines. You've actually pulled the trigger in playing the game, and you'll figure out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. The payment processing industry is very big, could be very complex. That's only if you overthink it, okay? It could be very simple. The tools are there. You just have to be resourceful. You just have to pull the trigger and take action and utilize your network. Because when you do, you're playing with friendly fire. And that, to me, that was honestly the first advice that I got when I started off in this business. The person I was working with, which, it's a company that I worked with to sign up as an agent. The guy told me, work with businesses because you'll play with friendly fire. They'll be more forgiving. Okay. And that to me just hit home. And I was like, okay, I get it. I totally understand. I went on my phone, looked for businesses and found them. And I also worked with my father-in-law, who helped me tremendously and gave me over 100 contacts that I was able to go and meet with. And that trust barrier was just lifted. It was the best feeling in the world. Honestly, you'll go into a store when you're referred by somebody, and I tell them I was referred to you by my father-in-law. They're just welcoming. Come on in. He's obviously well respected. And it's the same thing with you. If you know these businesses, go in there confidently. You know them already. What's the worst that can happen? They're going to say no. Who gives a shit? Like, really, who cares? You're still friends with them. They're still cool and whatever. Maybe you can ask, hey, do you know anyone that could potentially, help me out? Because I have a really good solution. I think I can help a business. That's it. Here's why you need to go after small businesses, because they're mom and pop. Most of them are mom and pop. And America is built on small business. It's not built on these big corporations. They're built on small businesses. And when you walk into a small business, you can actually speak with the owner. You can speak with the decision maker. But I'm not saying you can shoot for the stars and land on the moon. Perfectly fine. But what you want to do is go after these mom and pop shops or online store, whatever those kind of businesses are. And, again, utilizing your network. Funny story is, when I started this business, the first time someone told me about credit card processing, I actually picked up the phone right away and called Costco like an idiot and hoping to switch their processing with me. I don't know what I was thinking, but I started thinking big. I really, my mind went like, okay, I'm not going to waste time with these small guys. Let me go with the big guys. And it was a complete waste of time, because these big guys are not going to waste time with me, but the smaller guys are. And the reason the smaller guys are is because I can give them better support than the bigger guys. And they love that. So I was always available. Availability is your best ability. So if you're available for these businesses, you're going to outwork all of your competitors, because most of your competitors are big corporations and they work, and all they care about is like setting somebody up and then forgetting about them and not giving the support that they need. But the most successful agents are the relationship building ones, because those last the longest, because you're actually giving them hospitable support. It's like somebody coming to your house and they're a guest. You're going to ask them every second, what do you want to drink? What can I make you? You have food. They're your guest. They are your guest. So you got to give them hospitable service, because this person is putting food on your table. So when I started off, one of my biggest concern is, how can I keep these customers on board with, okay? And yes, great, congratulations, you signed someone up, but you don't want that to be churned, right? You want to have your churn as minimal as possible. And to do that, I had to figure out a way, how can I be different? What are the things that I can do that others can't? And again, going to my availability. It's that hospitable service support. So when the customer calls me, I'm there for them. And chances are they're not going to call. I mean, I set up a business 15 years, almost 15 years ago. And in fact, I've only heard from them maybe a couple of times, and I have to reach out to them. They don't reach out to me because if everything is fine, everything is like working, it's like, why fix something that's not broken, right? To them, they're still taking payments. And if that is what you've done where they need you less, then you, my friend, you've hit a home run on being able to deliver that. Because the last thing a business wants to think about is credit card processing. They hate talking about it. They hate thinking about it. They just want to grow their business, okay? And if you've given them a great solution, you're supportive, you're there, text them every now and then, hey, how you doing? I'm here for you if you need anything. And every now and then, yeah, you may open a can of worms, but that's fine. Who cares? You're there. The whole reason you're there is so you can support them, right? Otherwise, they'll sign up with, there's 1,000, maybe 1 million people like you. Why would they sign up with you and stay with you? It's because of you, not because of the company they're signing up with or anything else. It's because of you. They trust you. They saw something in you. They believe in you. They signed up with you. So keep that spark all along, because if you lose that spark, somebody else will come and they will steal that customer from you. They will take them because they're going to provide them things you weren't providing. So if you're growing fast, which is great, you want to replace that quality, like Comcast or Xfinity or whatever they're called now. My biggest issue with them is two things. They always change their pricing, always. If you close your eyes, there you go. Their pricing is up. Their support is horrible. Everything is outsourced. It's like the person that signed you up, did they really care about you? They didn't, because now you're like frustrated and all of that stuff. And I was a merchant once too. I owned a couple of cell phone stores in malls, and I had to sign up, and the salesperson was so adamant about signing me up. But after I put that ink on that paper and signed, the person vanished. He was like Houdini. He vanished. He was gone. Anytime I called him, no answer. He texts me back, call this number. He gave me a number on my machine, I remember. And when I called, I used to wait for 3 hours on the phone. So those things build frustration, because here you are as a business, you're trying to grow it and you're worried about credit card processing and you're frustrated. And now that energy goes back to your customers and your whole day just ruins. But if you're there to save their day and give them that hospitable service, that will change everything for them. Because a lot of my customers have called me many times and they said, Michael, you know how many times other salespeople have came to me and said they can save me $200-300 a month, but I'm staying with you. You know why? Because you're always available. That really, it was amazing to hear, because it's true. And I'm not doing it for anything. I'm doing it because these people are putting food on my table and I gotta take care of them. I remember 2 a.m. one time, someone called me and I wanted to be available, because if I'm not answering, you know what goes in my head? That someone else is gonna take that customer from me, and I'm not gonna let that shit happen. So I have my book of business and I'm gonna handle that book of business with the best care possible. The simplest action for you to take today to start earning residual income and payment processing is we talked about this earlier, but it's taking action. And we talked a little bit about joining a community, reading a book, or whatever it is. So for me, I do offer that. I saw a gap in that, just like I saw a gap in the service and support for merchants. I saw a gap. And merchants, by the way, means businesses. It's a weird thing in our world, but that's what merchants mean, just to kind of give you a little bit of a definition there. But a business, I wanted to make that different. So when I started my company, again, going back, I wish someone held my hand. I wish somebody walked me through, because when you can go online, you can Google things, but how do you know you're making the right decisions? There's so much data out there, so much information that's going to be thrown at you. How do you know what to pick and who to go with? So I'm doing all this so I can give you my 15 years of experience and throwing it into a community so we can work together, not alone, which that's what I did, okay? I worked alone. I was by myself and I absolutely hated it. I would have been much further in life, and obviously I've done well for myself, but I would have been much further in life if I was part of a group, if I was part of a team that are like-minded, that have have the same goals, that have the same drive. And that is what I wish I had from the beginning. So we grow up in our life, and when we have kids, we provide our kids things we were missing in our life because it's a natural thing to do. I'm doing the same thing in business. I wish I was taught. I wish I was handheld. I wish somebody told me, no, don't touch that fire. That shit is gonna burn, okay? I wish that happened to me because I would have been further in this payment processing side of things. But I'm gonna do it because I missed on it. I didn't have that. And those things are very special because being part of a community is being part of a greater good, right? Is being part of something that you get pushed to do things. You are part of, like, you just get that hype, like, you know, you get that accountability, because if you don't have accountability, then who knows what you're going to do? I mean, even for me, like, I go to the gym every single day. And if I didn't have my brother-in-law, for example, I work out with him all the time. If I didn't know he's meeting me at the gym at 7 a.m. or 6:30 a.m., I'm going to probably push it to 8:30. I'll snooze a couple of times. But because I know someone is there counting on me to show up, I'm going to be there at 6:30. In fact, I'll be there at 6:15 because I don't want to, all about respecting people's time. It's the same thing with building a community and being a part of a community. It's that accountability. So you joining my community doesn't have to be my community. It could be any community, but you need to take that action. You need to be a part of something that's way bigger than you and bigger than me. And that is, to me, in my opinion, is a community. That's why I made the decision to start a community, because I think that is the most impactful thing you can do. And just take that action. Just don't waste time. Be part of like-minded people, and you can work together. Because if you surround yourself with 100 cheese experts, that's what you're going to become, a cheese expert, right? That's the end of the video. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you have questions or thoughts, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're interested in building real passive income through payment processing, check out the free community I've created. The link is in the description, and it's full of resources and tools to get you started today. Hope to see you on the inside.